I haven't done any vlogs in a while because there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about. You know, it's like, what do I talk about? I got out of bed at between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, made a cup of coffee, answered some email, and then watched the news. And then I did the same thing the next day, and then again the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. You know, we're humans. We're creatures of routine. And I enjoy my routines as much as anybody else. So there hasn't been a whole lot going on. Not that there's been nothing going on. Not that my life has been a nothing burger. I spent quite a bit of time last week trying to perfect, or at least get as close as I could to perfection, a recipe for English muffins. Because someone asked me to do English muffins. And if you know anything about baking, ratio is important. Ratio of wet ingredients to dry ingredients. You measure everything in grams. You even weigh the water. And you add it all up. Add up all the wet, add up all the dry, and divide. And this recipe supposedly was a 75% wet to dry ratio. I did the calculations. I ended up with 77%. And they ended up really flat. So when I tried to cut them in half, I could cut them in half or fork them. You split them, English muffins, put them in the toaster. They would just curl up in the toaster. So that didn't work. But I eventually got it. It took three, was the fourth batch. I threw out about 3 dozen English muffins. The fourth batch came out pretty good. And that's the video that's on my YouTube channel, my other YouTube channel, Mobile Home Gourmet, and on my website now. English Muffins. And then I decided, let's go a little bit further. What would happen if I made it even a little bit drier? Because I got it down to about 72%. What if I pushed it to like 70 or 69%? Well, I ended up with this. Really thick English muffins. Which these are more like fried bread. They taste like bread. Whereas English muffins have a unique flavor. They taste like English muffins if they're done right. So that recipe that's on my website, that's about as good as it's going to get. And it makes really delicious English muffins. So that was the highlight of last week. Because I really wanted to get a video ready for Sunday. And 4 days. For 4 days I was making English muffins. But I got it done on time. Okay. Then somebody wrote on my YouTube channel, one of the comments said, are English muffins the same as crumpets? Well, I've heard of crumpets, but I have no experience with them. I didn't know. What do? You do research. Google it. What are crumpets? Turns out they're very similar to English muffins, similar size, but they're made as a batter rather than a dough. And English muffins are kind of a moist, wet, sticky dough because that ratio is so high, the wet to dry. Crumpets are made with more of a batter, and you put rings down on a skillet or on a griddle on the stove, and you pour the batter into the rings, right? And then you let them cook, and they're cooked on one side only, so that they look. If you've ever made pancakes, you know what happens with pancakes. You start to see the bubbles break on the surface. You start to get these little holes, and then you flip them over, and you cook the other side of the pancake. Well, with the crumpets, you don't flip them over. You can. Some people do, just to lightly cook the top, but not really brown it. The top is not supposed to be browned. The bottom is supposed to be browned. And then they're toasted later and served with butter and jam. Sounds like a video to me. So I got onto Amazon and I ordered crumpet rings. They had them on there. I got the good ones. There's different ones. Fox Run makes them. I got the Petite, more expensive. They were well rated by the reviewers. I bought the good ones because, not that I'm fishing, but people make donations to my website. not big. It's not like someone sends me $150. Nothing that big. But they do make donations every once in a while. I don't get them every month. I might get 2 in a month, and then I might not get any for 2 months. So, and I thought, if they're going to contribute something, why not pay for the rings with part of what they give me, and then I'll put in my half. Together we can pay for some expensive rings. I bought 2 sets of 4 each. I got 8 because my griddle has enough for 8. So total price with the tax was $32 even. And this is the fun part. I'm not a member of Amazon Prime. I haven't signed up for Amazon Prime. But they were shipped the same day. I ordered them in the morning. They were shipped that afternoon. And they're going to arrive tomorrow. I ordered them this morning. They're going to arrive tomorrow. So and I don't even pay for Amazon Prime, which now I guess it's $120. Is it $119.99? About $120 a month, a year now for Amazon Prime. I don't order from Amazon that much anyways, maybe once a month, every other month. Why spend that kind of money for 2-day shipping? So that's in my future. Those are going to arrive tomorrow. Today's Wednesday. I have a recipe in my textbook. I have a baking textbook. That's where I got the English Muffins recipe from. I've got a recipe. I've looked through it. It's going to be really simple. So if all goes according to plan, at least by Friday, I'll do a crumpet video. And then if that goes well, it'll be on my website and YouTube for Sunday. So that's been it. I mean, there's not a whole lot going on, I still follow the news, and I've got to say I'm feeling a little less patient with Trump right now. I have periods where I think, let him serve for the full 4 years. How much damage can someone do in 4 years? Although he's been doing quite a bit. Maybe he'll go away. I would like to see him not even nominated for a second term by the Republican National Committee or whatever it is, RNC. But actually, they don't do the nomination. It's done through the primaries and the caucuses. But I would like to see him not even be a nominee for the next term. I don't know who the Republicans would put forward. It's going to be an interesting race. The race I'm really waiting for is this fall to see how the Democrats are going to do. I have a prediction, I've done it before, that if they take over the House, as far as popularity, control of the House of Representatives, and maybe the Senate too, although that looks a little less likely, but if they do it, then what can he do? The Democrats will fight him whenever he tries to do anything, and at least anything that's damaging, like he's doing right now, calling the Justice Department his Justice Department, and he wants the Justice Department to investigate the investigation that Mueller is conducting. And this, I've said it before, this is what happens when a man becomes president who's never been in government before. He thinks being president is being CEO, and the United States is his company, his corporation, and he just gets to bark out orders, and everybody says, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, and they do what they're told to do. That's kind of his mentality. Well, that's not how government works in this country. We have 3 branches of government, and they're intended to try to balance each other so that there isn't any monarchy controlling this country. King George, I was at the president, the king, when this country, King George declared its independence, and this country didn't want a monarch like King George running the country. Anyways, some history for you. Where was I going with this? But sometimes I get less patient with him, like this issue with investigating the investigation that Mueller is conducting. It's heating up. It's heating up. More people are pleading guilty and choosing to work with Mueller. What Cohen is going to do, we're still waiting on that one. Is he going to sing like a canary. If he's indicted for all kinds of crimes and it looks like he's going to be convicted, we have to wait and see what's going to happen there. I'm not looking forward to an impeachment because I think an impeachment is a real blemish on our nation. Although if there's no other way, I mean, if Trump is found guilty of serious crimes, state crimes and federal crimes, like money laundering in New York, what's Congress going to do? The House of Representatives, what are they going to do? They're going to have to tell him either resign or you're going to get impeached, like they did to President Nixon. So that's kind of what I foresee happening there. If the Democrats really take over, even if there's no crime on the part of Trump, I can see him getting frustrated because now the Democrats will be the party of no, as the Republicans were during Obama's administration. And I can see him just quitting, just throwing up his hands in disgust and walking away. I can see him doing that. I don't think he would stick it out like Obama did for 8 years, even though the Republicans opposed everything, almost everything he wanted to do. So that's about all that's been going on in my life lately. Still riding my Patago bicycle nearly every day. I did move it out into the shed. I worked in my shed because I figured I could put it out there. It's a heavy bike. It's a big bike. And trying to get it down out the front door and down the porch steps, it's kind of unwieldy to get down those stairs. I thought if I get it in the shed, then I can just have to roll it out the door and down the driveway and get on my bike and ride. So it's out in the shed right now. Won't leave it there all winter because if we have a wet winter, sometimes we do, I'm afraid of too much moisture out there, rusting. But I mean, that's probably the most exciting news in my life, other than the crumpet rings, is moving my bike out to my shed. There just hasn't been a whole lot going on right now. So thanks for your patience, and thanks for listening. And if you like what you're hearing and you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe and tell others about it.